Michael, when you watch Koivunen, in particular on the power play, but really all the time, do you see a poise that almost belies the fact that he spent most of the year in the minors? You know what I'm saying? Because you see playmakers do that. When they come to the NHL, there's more guys that are aware, you know what I'm saying, of what they can do.
Well, the one thing that is evident to us is he has a real high hockey IQ.
Yeah.
And he has a quiet confidence about him. He has a maturity to his game, especially his offensive game. And we've seen that, you know, from the very first shift that he played.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't afraid. He's not afraid of the moment. And when you play in the top six, when you play with, you know, with Sid or Gino and some of the star power like that, that can be very intimidating for a young player. And one of the things that we observed was that it didn't faze him. And you know, there's been a few other guys that have come through here that were in similar circumstances that excelled, you know, and so that's a great sign. He's a great kid. He loves hockey. He's got really good offensive instincts. He's got a real high hockey IQ, and he has some swagger to him. He plays with moxie, and that's what you need to play in this league.
Coach Rusty got the 31 tonight. When you first saw him in his early days in the league, did you imagine him as a goal scorer of this magnitude, and what's enabled him to make that climb?
No, I didn't. I did not imagine that. You know, when I was coaching Rusty in Wilkes-Barre, he was on our second line, and he wasn't even on our power play. He was a penalty kill, checking, energy guy in Wilkes-Barre. And you guys know when, you know, that year when he got called up, he came up to Pittsburgh through the bottom six, played on the fourth line, killed penalties, was an energy guy. I don't know that I've been around a player or coached a player whose offensive game has evolved and developed like his. He deserves so much credit for his passion for the game, his work ethic, to put the time in every day to develop his overall game. It's remarkable what he's done with his career. You know, I think Sid has had a huge influence on him, just by being around him and developing the practice habits and things of that nature that are required to continue to grow and develop your game. But you know how Rusty's developed in his time here as a Pittsburgh Penguin. You know, if you look at his game right now, he's played for the most part. He's the last handful of years he's on a 30+ pace. This year he achieves it. He stayed healthy for us more so this year than he has in the past. He plays the game extremely hard, and that's one of the reasons why it's hard for him to play 80 games, because he puts himself in harm's way a lot. And that's what we admire about him. But he's just a terrific hockey player.
Josh,
There was a sequence in the second period. Sid makes a ridiculous pass to set up a goal, and then he scores a goal. And Ovechkin responds with a classic Ovechkin goal. I know you're in the middle of coaching the game, but is there a hockey fan in you that can still kind of appreciate what you're watching with those two go at it like that?
For sure. You know, they're two of the greatest players of all time. And, you know, how fortunate are we that we get a chance to see it up close and have for how many years now. The fact that they play in the same division is incredible because of that rivalry between Washington and Pittsburgh and between Ovi and Sid has been so much fun to witness, you know, up close. You know, they're generational talents, but they're charismatic guys also. They're fierce competitors. I know there's a mutual respect between the two of them, and I believe there's a mutual respect between the two organizations. And so, you know, and what I would say is both players have been surrounded by some pretty good players also, and that makes the rivalry that much more heated.
Mike, Sam Doolin got the recall. Just what you think of him tonight, and what's your assessment of the organization's assessment of what he's accomplished this year? I think he set some rise at the American League level this season.
Sam's had a great year. He's played extremely well for Wilkes. You know, he continues to grow and develop his game. You know, I thought he was solid tonight. You know, he's obviously his size and his strength on the puck is something that we like. He's good on the wall. I think the best aspect of his game is in the offensive zone underneath the hash marks down low. He protects pucks well. He's pretty good at the net front. He has a good stick. But we're obviously thrilled with his overall growth this year in Wilkes.
Mike, I wanted to follow up on Josh's question a little bit. I know that on our side, we can look at another team and say, oh, this team needs to be like this one, or compare this team to that. But when you look at the Capitals, is there anything that the Penguins can learn in terms of how they play, how they built their roster, just any, even 30,000-foot principles that can maybe be implemented here?
Yeah, well, the league tends to be a copycat league, and what I will say is if all you do is try to copy a team that has success on a given year, and you don't have any convictions of the identity of your group and what sets your team up for success, you could chase that for a while. So I think without a doubt there's a lot to take from an organization like Washington. You've got to tip your hat to them. They've been able to reshape that team on the fly, and remake it to the point where they're very competitive right now, and they have one of the best records in the league. They've done a really good job from top to bottom there, and so I think there's a lot there to take from as far as what that process might look like. But as far as identity, style of play, things of that nature, I think that's unique to teams. It depends on what the core looks like, because my experience has been that the best teams, they build an identity around their core players and set them up for success, and then you've got to try to surround those guys with complementary players that can enhance that identity, and so that's my take on it anyway.
Last one, Justin, on the right.
Mike, there's no awards given out for players that appear in every game of the season. Grizzly and Carlson are the only two on the team to do that for you this year. Just can you speak to the physical toll that the game takes, especially as a former player yourself, and just the value that you and your staff place on the sturdiness for appearing in all games?
It's hard, like we say as a coaching staff all the time, the best ability is availability, and so these guys that can endure the demands of the NHL schedule. That's one of the challenges in and of itself, is the grind of the schedule. And so for these guys to suit up for all 82, they play significant minutes also, is a credit to them. They play hard, they play through a lot, and it's when you have players that can play a significant amount of games, a significant amount of minutes like that, it certainly helps your opportunities to have success.